Get your free copy of GameMaker Studio at yoyogames.com. Hey Game Makers, it's Intoxicatious coming at you with another video for GameMaker Studio previews. And today's something a little different. It's something I wanted to do for a while, and I want to show you a lot of, or I guess all of, the games that I have made or even didn't make. They never made the cut. I, for some reason, stopped designing them and just gave up. So I want to show you everything that I've ever worked on in GameMaker. Trust me, it's not really going to take a long time. But I kind of want to show you that, you know, I've used the program and I've made games. This is true. I've done it. So I can kind of critique other people's works a little bit. But also kind of show you failure, because I think failure is important to understand that you are going to fail far more times than you're going to really succeed, and failure is a really good learning experience. So who is it, James Portnow? He has a great quote which is pretty much, fail faster. The sooner you can fail in the creative process, the easier it will be to fix. So fail faster. And with that, I'm going to show you everything. This is going to be very impromptu, so don't expect anything too scripted or anything. I'm just going to open up the files and see what happens. So let's jump into the first game now. Okay, so one of the really first games I wanted... Okay, one of my favorite games is Mega Mania on Atari. Love that game. Honestly, that game, I think, even for its time, like, it stands the test of time for me. I think it's still really well made. Definitely my favorite. I would definitely say, yeah, my favorite Atari 2600 game. So I found it the best thing to do was to mimic existing games, especially simple ones that I understand the mechanics, and then try to reproduce them. And so you'll see this is so primitive, but there's the whole game. It's just the first level. If anyone's ever played Mega Mania, you'll recognize. Let me get that mouse out of the way though. You recognize the way this looks, and blah blah blah. You know, you get your lives, your score, your health ticking down, and you know, you can't leave the boundaries of the screen or anything. They loop around. I honestly can't even remember how I did half of this, but there. And then your remaining oxygen is added to your score. It just loops the first level because I never really did anything past it. But hey. It's a good way to start. I think you should mimic a very simple game, and it's a good way to study, learn game design, see what's peek behind the curtain. You know, you do want to see the great and powerful Oz of video games. And that was stupid. I'll just cut it. Just cut that. Okay, so this is a Picross game I was working on. It's kind of like a newspaper Picross game, or nonograms, or Gridler, whatever you want to call it. And some cheesy MIDI music I wrote a long time ago, I just slapped onto it. And I never finished it, so you're going to see that there were going to be, I don't know, I guess 24 levels or more pages or whatever. So only the first few levels actually exist. And, how's your piercing? So yeah, this was it. You get, I don't really remember the controls, but you know, you fill it in with, like, pen, I guess, was the idea. You can... This was done with drag and drop, so was the bulk, I guess, of Virtual Moose. And I don't know. I don't really remember the controls. I think I right-click to... Yeah, okay, so you right-click to put X's. You can X over the numbers, and, you know, if you get it wrong, right, you get a strike. 3 strikes, the game's over. I got this time. This was just a script I picked up online on how to do a timer. This is supposed to be pause and quit, I believe, and then my video game company, Black Slug Games, is there. And see if I remember this puzzle quickly. It's very symmetrical, so hopefully I don't fail it. Maybe I can do at least one puzzle. Okay, so those are done. That's done. That's done. I think this is just a repeat of the one at the bottom. There. And it actually knows when the puzzle's done, and then plays that stupid ditty and goes back to this. And then, you know, there's like a... whatever was going to be there to say it's done, and I think there are only a couple puzzles. Looks like maybe 4 of them. I don't know. The timer used to, the beeps used to sync up better. Anyway, I thought actually looking back at it, it's got really nice design on this, and it's not made very well. I'll tell you that much. The coding is atrocious. But yeah, I never released it because it just was ridiculous, like the way I coded it, and I don't think that graphically it was what I wanted, but it was a pain to introduce new levels. So the code was bad. I was too green at making games, and I just kind of gave up. So that's that story. So here's a game you've never seen, no one's ever seen really, and I'll move on to the next one. Okay, this isn't really much of a game. This was just I wanted to get the idea of racing mechanics. I just found a tutorial online on how to get racing mechanics done. My friend who actually is a programmer, I remember he helped me with this. This isn't the version he helped me with, because he changed it so you can't, you know, turn when you're stopped, because cars don't do that. You have to have momentum to turn. And this is done at, it won't come through because I think I'm recording at 30 frames, so the 60 frames makes it really smooth, but it's not going to come through when it's on YouTube. But anyway, no, it was just a really simple idea of figuring out, and the car goes backwards and things like that. It was just a tutorial on how to do it. Nothing special here, so let's move on. Okay, this was a game I wanted to make that it had 2 phases where you would do some sort of like gorging of food or something like that, and then the next phase you would play this game where you fall and break bricks, but the amount of bricks you can break, like the depth you can go, is based on how much you weigh. So you would like gorge on food as much as you can, and then you get really, really fat and bigger too, which I don't know if there were going to be obstacles or whatever. But you would go down, and because you weigh more, you could go further. And so that was pretty much the concept of that game. There wasn't really a lot to it. It was just can you, I don't know, I don't even have the first phase. See, these are the ideas that really never really make it because I don't really design them on paper, or I don't feel it, and I'm just like, forget it. Especially when you're very new to making games, it's very easy to give up. But every little thing you do is a learning experience, and then you kind of combine it all together into a big game later, and then everything becomes second nature. So anyway, moving on. This is an interesting one. I didn't make this game to release this game. This is that slide puzzle game that a lot of people hate and it's frustrating. But I didn't make it to release this as a game. I made this because I wanted a script for swapping tiles, like sliding tiles around, because I was going to make a game later, which I'll show you. So you just click on a tile and it'll slide to the next vacant space, and then, oh, you win, because, you know, woo! So it'll detect a win state as well. Nothing special. But yeah, like I said, I just really wanted to get the script done for sliding tiles, which I'll show you in the next game why that was important. It's a game I did for a game jam. Okay, this is a game a friend of mine. He and I were working on. It was this kind of puzzle game where you control some character, and these cannons are firing these blocks, and you attach the blocks to yourself so you can grab them as you go. It's got really terrible code, I can tell you that. And the point was, it's not implemented in this version, but when the blocks, when 4 of them were attached, like in a line or a box or something along those lines, you could, they would disappear like a Tetris effect, and then they would explode when they do that, and then the surrounding blocks would then fly away, and then could cause a chain reaction of more blocks breaking and breaking and breaking. But you can shoot them off of yourself like that. So it's like pow and pow. But the collision detection is horrible. Like you see over here, like these 2 are attached, and now that's in the wall, and now I have problems moving, and it was a ruddy mess, is what this was. So you can see why it never got completed. Once again, I was too new, and I was actually trying to like code this, and it just turned out to be a terrible game. So, bleh. This is another game I was working on. This was supposed to be released for like phones, and it's copying the LCD look and whatever, like phones and tablets, and you get the buttons you move around. Okay, so here's how it kind of works. You're this dude. I'm just using the Lost Vikings guy right now, and you're trying to defend your castle as these guys are coming in waves and waves and waves. And you can shoot high and you can shoot low. And these guys with low shields, you have to shoot high. The blocks I didn't have a sprite for, but they don't have a shield. You just shoot them at like low or high, and you're fine. So low shields, you gotta shoot high, and then they'll start spawning high shields, and you gotta shoot them low. If you shoot nothing, right? So there's like this strategy. I have this thing where I'm obsessed with shooting two different types, and you gotta like think about it. I guess it's like an Ikaruga kind of thing. I don't know. And then when you're done, then you get this boss. And now this boss is supposed to be kind of shooting stuff, and bleh, he has a life bar, which it's not really shown or anything, but he will randomly decide to like become enraged and go down one of the lanes, I guess you call them. The only reason I didn't release this, I had an artist for it. I had an artist friend who was working on it. You can shoot him even when he's there. And now these guys alternate. You can only shoot them every other time. They're like spinning and they expose their weak spot. And this game's kind of got like a rhythm to it, and I wanted that kind of feel. And I have like, music kind of matching that feel or whatever. But like I said, I had an artist lined up, my friend who's an artist, and the only reason I didn't release it, these frogs alternate up and down, so you can, whatever, shoot high or low. I didn't release it because I didn't understand at the time. This is when I was just learning Android and iOS and stuff like that. I did not understand how to do like multi-touch devices. These guys have you have to shoot them twice, high and low. If you shoot low, they die immediately, but if you shoot high, their head comes off in a way, like it's like poof, and you still have to shoot low. So I don't know. I had like ideas for bosses. There's this whole thing. I had a whole thing like drawn up, and like I said, I had an artist going, look at this, we're on this new level. These like paths and stuff. I don't know. So anyway, I didn't understand how to do the right presses of the buttons. Or like you want your game to feel right? And if you can't touch the screen properly and play a game, then there was no reason to make it. So I honestly, it was a hard decision. I really wanted to make this game, and I scrapped it because I just did not know how to program properly for touch devices. I do know now, and I could go back and do this game. I'm getting the feels playing this again. I've got the feels. And I'm still friends with the artist, so I don't know. I guess I'll see one day. I might come back to this and try to release it. There was like multiple levels. There's a boss where like it's a dragon head that comes down each lane. If they get past you, you lose, whatever defense power, kind of like a tower defense game, but no towers, just you. Anyway, I don't know. That's the game. So, yeah. Sorry, I'm getting the feels, like I said. Anyway, moving on. Okay, I want to show you this really silly side project I made for myself really quickly. It's really ugly for a reason. Okay, I have a lot of seasons DVDs for television shows, and sometimes I like that television is just like, alright, here's The Simpsons, random episode, go. I don't want to choose, and television gives me that kind of cool option. So I created this really terrible program where you're like saying, okay, how many seasons are there? So let's say our show is 5 seasons, and how many episodes per season? We'll say 12, okay? So 5 seasons, 12 episodes, and then you hit the go button, and it'll randomly select a season, and it'll randomly select an episode. Yeah, really simple programming, but I just wanted to put that on my phone, so if I was in bed and I was like, what do I want to put on? Well, put on season 3, episode 12. I think it was primarily made for It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, because I could put on just any random episode, and away I go. I like to watch one episode or something before bed. So, really stupid little program. Not a game, but you don't have to necessarily make games, I guess. Anyway, I got another stupid, silly one to show you. Okay, this one has a pop-up window, and you select a number, and then the program just determines whether or not it's prime. That's it. So it'll go through and make all the calculations and then tell you. So it's like 10. Well, 10, this number is not a prime number. That's it. It goes through why it says dividing 10 by 10 is because it's really crappy, the programming. It was made more for debugging, but it would go through, like, you know, dividing 10 by 1, 10 by 2, 10 by 3. So it'll go through all the divisions, and it'll, like, skip 2s. I don't remember exactly how I wrote it, but it's really bad. But it does a decent job at determining prime numbers. So it's just, once again, not really a game, but to show you the power of GameMaker Studio. I think I can refresh this. Okay, I don't know if it's recording or not, but I'm going to select another number that's really high. So 8,593. Make sure it doesn't end with an even number because it's automatically not going to be prime. So let's, or yeah, so there we go. It knew right away. 8,593, not a prime number. One more test just to show you that it does. I turned off the recording for a second. One more test to show you that it can determine if something's prime. So let's go with something like 7, and there you go. 7. This number is a prime number, so it can pick up prime numbers. I don't know how 100% accurate it is, but anyway, I've talked too much about this. Okay, so this game is so weird. I was trying to play with this idea of like perspective, and with the mouse you control this little defender, and these like enemies come down. It's very much like Guitar Hero, but I don't know what I was going for here. I think they were supposed to bounce back like Pong. Like I called this Pong Dungeon, and I think you were supposed to like bounce them off and hit something. I don't really know, but I was kind of playing with perspective in GameMaker, and it utterly failed. So I just kind of gave up on the project. So okay, this is just weird. I wanted to make this game where it's like Breakout, Pong, you know, those Breakout games where there's a paddle at the bottom and you break bricks. But I was like, what if instead, you know, you're using the barrels from Donkey Kong, right? That kind of an effect. And this was supposed to be, I think, on a phone, and you're supposed to tap. It's over here, and there, the ball would come out. It bounces all over the place. And then it, you know, looks stupid, and it lands in a barrel, and there, Breakout. I don't know. It's really poorly made, I would say. I think you just tap anywhere on the screen. No, you gotta tap the barrel. But it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, try everything, fail faster. I could always come back to this if I want. It was just playing around with the way physics kind of work in GameMaker, and I don't know. You could see it's not that cool. But it was something to try. Anyway, this was just a little prototype with doing like a ripple game where like this is like a pond, and if you were to click somewhere, you create ripples, and then if the ripple hits one of these like buoys or wherever they are, you know, it creates another ripple, and that ripple will create another ripple, and they're supposed to cause a chain reaction, but this one glitches a lot, and I don't know why. I can reset the level. I think there's a way to make it so they all touch, and I think that was the point of the game. It's like you get like so many clicks, and then you have to light all the buoys. So like if I were to click, I don't know, here maybe, and it'll cause this chain reaction and whatever. I don't know. It was just a test to see if I could do this like rippling chain reaction thing, and if I ever wanted to use this in the future, I can. This is the point. GameMaker, great for prototyping. This is what it's for right here. You know, these all take a few hours to just assemble and see like, oh, is that a good idea for a game? Yes, it is, and I know I can do it. I will. This was just a first-person like dungeon test. Oh, that's how we turn. Heh, I don't even know my own controls. I don't know, it was just to test it. It's a terrible engine. Don't use it. You shouldn't. But I wanted to prove that I could do it without being 3D. This is all 2D, and it's just turning switches on and off to say like which walls are being painted based on that mini-map that's over there. So, I don't know. I didn't like the engine as much as it's playable, so I just gave up on it. Yeah, what you gonna do, right? Okay. this was just a little test to like do a screen transition. So every time I press space, it'll do this like transition. For me, it has this like Sonic the Hedgehog feel. It's a terrible way to implement this this way of transitioning screens. So you see, I'm in this like cyan kind of blue room, and aqua, I guess, I don't know. I'm not good with color names. And if I press space, this little like interstitial animation type thing will happen, and then peel back, and you'll be in another room. Right? So, advanced room. And there we go. So it was just a way of making this like faux loading screen, because GameMaker, if your game is simple, will just load levels right away, right? So I wanted this fake loading screen transition, and like I said, it's not a very good way to implement it. It's kind of just this square that animates, and when it reaches a certain point of its animation, it spawns multiples, but only within the window. So it'll like start at the top left, spawn, all the way to the bottom, counts, changes room, and then it does the same thing in reverse. I don't think it's a good way to do it. There's probably a better way, but you know, gotta try things. Okay, I'm gonna admit something to you. I'm like obsessed with Zombies Ate My Neighbors, so I decided to try to rebuild it as best I could. It's not actually black and white. The idea is, it's black and white. I took a full screenshot of the first level, and that's what's black and white. And then I cut up actual pieces to paint the level and to add collision. So right now, well, actually there is collision, it turns out. But the tree, see how that tree should be on top of me? So if I pieced it properly and gave it the right layer, it'd be green and be on top of my layer. So it looks like there are a few collision points in the game. I don't know, you'd shoot. I was just working on creating an engine because I'm totally there. These worked. See how they're on top of me, but I just repeated the same tile. Yeah, nothing special here, except I just really wanted to make Zombies Ate My Neighbors. I don't think this worked out, which is why I never did anything with the engine, but if I ever wanted to go back and redo it, I could. I don't know. It's, I was using a controller for that, by the way. I'm just obsessed with Zombies Ate My Neighbors, but I think we could redo it and update it and make it a lot cooler. Anyway, moving on. Okay, this game's a little messed up. For a brief moment I thought, man, I could totally release HTML5 games and make money, which, no, because I'm not that good. But this is just a game where it's like, I guess, a runner, but you're falling, so it's a faller, and you're this slime, and you click on the screen. It's supposed to be for like mobile HTML5, and you tap the screen to make your slime go back and forth, and then you get monies. Like I have $65, and you use that to purchase upgrades. And then when you're ready to go, you know, I don't even think I can restart the level. You just have to go with what I showed you. You tap and you go and you jump back and forth. There's coins and spikes, and there are bumpers springs that automatically shoot you. And as much as I put a lot of effort into this, I was like, I don't like it. I got as far as doing the upgrade store, like these are all placeholder graphics, and then I was like, I don't like this. And I just gave up. But I was learning pixel art, which is why this is all my art for the first time. I don't always have my own art. I have a few other artists I work with sometimes who just help me. They're not like established artists, but I have other people who do my art sometimes. I'm not the greatest of artists. So anyway, especially pixel art. So I was doing the bricks and the pipes. This is before Flappy Birds, guys. Okay, I had these pipes first. Okay, maybe Mario had the first, but what else am I gonna do? It's a sewer. Okay, this was a game for a game jam I dropped out of. I got, as I've mentioned before in videos, I work freelance, so I got called in, and you know, making money is more important than working on a game jam. So I kind of dropped out of this one, but I went back to this was like a spooky one for Halloween, and I went back to that first-person RPG engine, and I was going to build a game using that, and I was like I said, I had to work, but I don't think I would have finished it anyway. I'm not, like I said, I don't like this engine, or framework, or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, that's a glitch too. You can keep walking even when there's a wall, so the grass just flips to give the illusion of walking. It's a pretty freaky game. And it was supposed to be like kind of this scavenger hunt game, like you get the feeling you're always being hunted. And I don't know. I don't know if I ever would have finished it, but I tried to make a spooky game. Okay, so I got really obsessed with the Wonder Boy series a while back, and I wanted to make a platform game of that style, like a platform RPG kind of thing. So I've got this thing going on. I don't know. You can go up slants and whatever. There are these kind of ones you could jump through, and you get hurt and whatever. Apparently you can like expand the attack. Anyway, I don't know. I was gonna make a whole game out of it. It was gonna be almost Mega Man like, where you select from one of 8 stages and beat the boss and whatnot. Blah 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 blah. I'm just not good at long form games. That's why I do game jams. But I've got this engine for a platform game. Poke 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 poke. I hope this gave you kind of a view of who I am, what I've done in the past 2-3 years. I don't know what it's been. And to show you that when you're making your own games and you're like, man, this is a failure. Okay, it's a failure. Let it fail. And then take that and turn it into something else, and make another game and another game. And if someone tells you your game sucks right to your face, you're like, that's fine, that's your opinion. And you just make another game, and you just keep going and going and going. And then don't stop learning from everybody. There are so many things online to learn from. And you just pick up little snippets here and there, and it becomes your, like, catalog of things you can pick from and your tool sets. So, yeah, I really do encourage you guys, don't stop making games. Don't give up. And fail faster. I'll see you guys next week with something a little special, I hope. I hope it turns out. I didn't jinx it. But I got something special lined up for next week. So, don't stop making games!